The chassis and interior are now all completed, so I just needed to paint a couple more parts before I could finish this entire thing off. Firstly, I just needed to airbrush the wheels. These are from Scaleproduction. I have links in the description down below. I painted them with some primer and then of course applied some color to it. With that all said and done, I can move on to the body itself, painting a lot of the details, firstly starting on the clear parts and the window rubbers, just painting them black with a brush. After I finished off painting all of the rubbers, I moved on to doing the reflective surface behind the lights with some silver. And of course, as always, the taillights and other lenses were painted with a permanent marker. Once all of the paint was dry, I could move on to placing the clear parts in and then gluing them together. All of the parts for the inside of the body are now finished and in place, so I could put the chassis and interior together with the body and start moving on to the wheels. The Scaleproduction wheels I'm using are center lock wheels. They are male fitment, and that is the same as the original wheels that came with the kit, so they just fit in perfectly without any adjustment on the front. I just had to slid the pin in and the wheels were mounted. With both of the front wheels mounted, I could move on to the rear. These worked perfectly fine, though they needed a bit more spacing, so I created some spacers. I just punched a couple holes in some plastic sheet, then drilled a center hole in it to fit around that pin for the center lock wheels, then just spaced it out and put the wheel in the same way I did on the front. Originally I had thought to use the stock exhaust pipes, though they look a bit weird, so I decided to change them up with some Scaleproduction ones. I just needed to cut some of the original off and then could glue these in place. On the real RWB cars, there is always a silicone seal put on all of the edges from the body kit. Now there is no real way to do that on scale parts like this, so I use some electro-cut foil. This is bought from Scaleproduction, and I just cut a really thin strip. It is pretty much just a black vinyl in a semi-gloss finish. With that strip, I just place it along the seam and simulate the look that way. As the panel lines are nice and deep on this body and still very nicely visible, they didn't really cover entirely with paint, so some looked a bit whitish, and I really needed to cover that up, so I used some Panelline accent color to make them a bit darker and have a bit of a shady effect, just like on actual cars. And there you have it, this build is finished. Overall, a really nice and easy build. The Tamiya kit itself is a really good base, and the Scaleproduction is a perfect add-on to it. It has the same quality as a fully original body, but then with a wider look, and of course the custom RWB bumpers. The wheels are perfect, they fit really nicely, and with a bit of spacing on the back, that is all the adjustment they needed.